we go.
Beautiful day, beautiful life, beauty all around me. Beauty within, cause we are His. Beauty surrounds me. I am beautiful.
Sisters Perspective. Good evening. We're so glad that you joined us. Glad you're here with us tonight. The sisters are back together. All five of us are here tonight. And we are here to just talk about a little bit of everything. And so we hope you're here for the ride. We're going to spend some time talking about voting and how important that is or not, depending on how you feel about it, as well as just get some updates on some different things. But as always, let's check in. How has everybody been? As they check in, I'm going to ask everybody to tell me, are you going to vote tomorrow or have you already voted? And we're going to start with Sherry.
I guess I will be voting tomorrow. I like to go in the day of and see all the excitement and people, in front of the place, trying to wave their little flags and everything, and their campaign person, and then go and vote for somebody else. But um, I do like to go in and see, and just the excitement of voting day. I look forward to it.
All right. How you been since we talked to you last week?
Oh, busy, extremely busy. Because it is what you call it. It is holiday season basically, and so um, that means I'm getting little people ready for concerts and speaking parts and just all kinds of stuff. And we still have to organize a whole grade level going to the Nutcracker, which is fun. And it's always wonderful to see in December, but it is tiresome.
Yeah.
So, but that's what I have going on. But everything else is doing great.
Awesome. Awesome. Sounds good. All right. If you're joining us, please like and share. Invite somebody else to watch the show tonight. We are going to talk about some important issues related to voting and election day. So go ahead and like, share, tell everybody to come on in the room for a little while with us. Lori, how have you been? And have you voted or do you plan to vote tomorrow?
No, I have already voted. I love doing early voting so I can get it out of the way. Um, and I've been great. Look, it was a very hectic week. I've been burning up the highway, having to do things with Nia, and she qualified or auditioned and made all state for their orchestra. So we got to prepare for that. And it was a great football and baseball and anything else you can think of weekend. So it was great.
All right. And we'll check back in on those sports in a few minutes. I'm sure you have
Oh
highlights.
yeah.
Because that Alabama LSU game was the was the junk.
Charlotte, check in. How you doing?
Damn.
Have you voted yet?
Yes, we do early voting every time. And we made the news. We're famous. No, I'm just kidding. But we did make the news for our voting. We like to avoid it. We don't like lines, traffic, none of that kind of stuff. I don't know why we live in Orlando, but we don't like any of that. So anytime we can go in early vote, we do that because you could just go in and come right out. So we have already voted. Everything is going good over here. I had a studio session yesterday, went very well. Today is my best friend's birthday, Tiffany. Happy birthday, Tiffany!
Happy
And
birthday.
I think that's it.
Okay. Sounds good. Sounds good. Sounds good. I'll go next. I have not voted yet. I do intend to go tomorrow. I missed the early voting cutoff because my schedule was not coordinating well with trying to figure out how to go in other kid activities. So I did not go yet, but I will get there tomorrow to vote. I have had a wonderful week. As you can tell, I took my braids out and have twisted it up. Over the weekend, I went to a powwow. It was
What?
great. Exactly. Everybody looking like, what? Yes, I went to the Wakama Indian People's powwow, and it was just it was wonderful. We had a great
That
time,
sounds great.
looking, looking at all the different things and watching them do all of their cultural traditions. Like they did several. They have, the big circle, and they did several of their dances, and it was just great.
Mm-mm.
It was a really good time to go in, and our school, my college actually did a school field trip. I took everybody on a field trip, and so we was like 2 buses deep, and we went to the powwow, and they had a great cultural experience. And I mean, like y'all, you know how
That's
you
so
see the
cool.
popes and bishops with all their stuff on. You should
Mm.
see these folks. Popes and bishops ain't got nothing on them when they put their regalia on, like from top to bottom, full. And it was like hot outside, but it was full gear. My dude had a staff with like a whole eagle perched up on it.
Oh,
I was like, look at this. This is a. They do their whole little grand entrance thing, and the only thing about it is
Sweet.
they regalia make too much noise for me. Like after about an hour, I was like, okay, there's too many bells and ringing and jingling things on their clothes. Like every time they walk, they leg. But it was really beautiful, all the colors and the significance of everything. And so we had a great time. I took my kids with me because you got to always learn, even on the weekend. So
mm-hmm.
we had a good time doing that. And then yeah, yesterday was when I did my hair in the midst of our family meeting, which was a good time as well. So it's been a good week overall, and I'm happy to still be here among the land of the living, as the old people say.
I know that's
Baby sis, check in. How you doing?
I am doing okay today. Um, I am going to vote tomorrow, probably after I drop Giselle off to school. Um, I haven't had a chance to vote yet because it's always something every day. So hopefully, not hopefully, I will make it there tomorrow. I'll probably be a little late to work, but it's fine.
right.
In the morning,
So they don't give you guys like time to go vote?
yes, it's in my contract. I
Like,
can be to work tomorrow.
okay, so I was about to
That's
say, hold
nice.
on.
Yes,
That is a law.
it is.
Oh, that's good.
Correct. So I'll be late, and they'll be okay.
Yeah.
And since last I saw you guys, nothing much has happened. Giselle's birthday is tomorrow. She's gonna be
Just say
11 years old.
wow.
Almost a
Hmm.
preteen.
I have 11-year-old child, which is weird, but she's tomorrow, and I am annoyed that this storm is trying to come and ruin our plans because we are supposed to have a fun weekend.
Oh,
She still doesn't know what we're doing. I don't know if she can hear me. We
don't
supposed to
say it.
know, but she can't hear. She downstairs. We
Oh,
we can't. We're supposed to be going horseback riding.
Oh, I want to go.
I know
but what day was that, Carol?
it's on Saturday.
Um,
I'm hoping that
yeah,
will be cleared up by then so that we can still enjoy our weekend,
exactly.
dinner show, and all of that. She doesn't know what's going on. So,
Oh, that's so fun.
yes, I like to do surprises. But yeah, that is it for me.
Hmm.
Hoping
Well,
that
hopefully, yeah.
or
Hopefully Nicole will sit down somewhere
I hope so.
She needs to.
so y'all can enjoy your weekend. All right. Well, that sounds good. I'm glad y'all checked in and everybody's still alive and well. Um, yeah. Here we don't have school on election day. It is
I
everything is
remember that.
things are closed, so they get the day off.
Oh, I think that that's a great idea.
Every state does
Really,
it
it
a little
is.
differently, and even in states, counties do it differently. So here it's kind of recognized as a holiday, and so they
Hmm.
don't have school and stuff.
Hmm.
But everybody else still has to go to work. Just the kids don't have to go to school. primarily because they use all of the schools as polling places. So no
Hmm.
kids go to school, which means my kids will be around the house eating up all my food tomorrow. And so y'all
Lucky you.
say a prayer for me, turning on every light in the house and eating all the food. So
You know.
Yep.
Light.
that's what they do. And hopefully they'll be all right. Well, Lori, go ahead and give us we hadn't had in a while a sports highlight. So what's been going on in the wonderful world of sports?
Well, first of all, I'm gonna start off with Rattler news first. Yes, the Rattlers had their last home game of the season, and yes, we were victorious over Southern with a score of 30-16. And of
Woo,
course,
woo.
not only did they not want any of the football team, but they didn't bring their band. They didn't want none of the 100 either. So,
Oh no.
and yes,
They
they got
didn't bring
clowned
the
for that
lead.
because y'all know Joe Bullock cut up. I was like, because they call themselves the jukebox. He was like,
Yeah.
well, I see the toy box didn't make it.
Oh,
Wow.
I was like, oh, he is so wrong, but
that's
hey,
all.
but the 100 showed out, and it was a great game, uh, really good attendance. So especially the weekend after homecoming, because homecoming, oh my gosh, it was so many people there, and it was amazing.
And we
Yes,
made
and
was
yeah.
on Good Morning America and everything.
Y'all sure were,
Oh yeah,
because
oh
Wiggins was
yes,
on there.
yes, it was. Yeah, it was a pretty lit homecoming. So I had myself a blast. So, and Warren experienced, my grandson experienced his first first tailgate. He didn't actually go to the game. First tailgate. So, but in other sports news, we had some pretty iconic football matchups. Of course, Georgia versus Tennessee, which I became a
Ooh.
volunteer fan because I was like, look, somebody needs to hit Georgia in the mouth, but it wasn't going to happen Saturday. So
No.
Tennessee, unfortunately, did not capitalize in a couple of situations, especially in that first turnover that Georgia made. And they couldn't do anything with it. I'm like, really? Okay, so this is how the game is going to go. And that's the way it went. So Georgia did win that game 27-13, and therefore kind of hurting a little bit, but not much. Hendon Hooker's um, Heisman race chances. I know he's still going to be probably named as one of the Heisman candidates,
Yeah.
but we want him to win the whole thing. So because he's got skills. I like him.
Mm.
So and then of course, as Sherry said, the Alabama LSU game. Look,
That was a
Alabama, they
battle.
both came in with the same record, 7-2, and Alabama came in half stepping, and LSU said, okay, well, we're gonna bring it, and they won big.
Okay.
And the game went to overtime. The final score was 31-32, and it was because they were not scared to go for that 2-point conversion. A
Mhm.
lot of people play it safe and just kick the field goal and go ahead and go to a second overtime. They were like, no, we going for the gusto. We don't make it, we just not gonna make it. And they won the game. It was crazy. Of course, everybody rushed the field, but it was amazing. And then I taught okay, so I'm just like flipping channels all over the place.
Maybe.
I had to turn back over to the Astros game because I kept flipping in between that. And Houston went ahead and won the World Series. They won it all, making Dusty Baker the second African American manager. Everybody kept saying, like, I heard different people say first. I don't know what the announcer said, but they were like first African. I was like, no, he's the second. But we're happy for him because it hasn't happened in a long time. I think it was like 1992. But the Blue Jays manager. So anyway, really excited for him. And I have to admit that 3-run homer in the sixth, yes, Jordan Alvarez and Jeremy Pena got the MVP, deservedly so, because this man is amazing. I just not only just amazing as far as skills, he looks pretty good too. I mean,
Mm.
baseball pants. So I'm just saying.
It's like
Okay.
grandparents say easy on the eyes.
Yep. There you go.
Exactly. He is definitely easy on the eyes. So, but yeah, he's got skills too.
I tell you, this young lady is excited about sports.
I mean, just a
Yeah.
It
full
was
of
great.
knowledge, a fact book of knowledge.
Right.
Okay.
Bunch of
I,
names
I
I don't know.
I did. I really. I don't know, Laura. You was talking about. They was kind of half stepping when they came in, Alabama. Um, I don't know if they was half stepping so much. It's just that I'm telling LSU just had an answer for everything. They had studied, and
Well,
they
see,
just had
that's what I
an answer.
mean about it. LSU did their homework.
Mm-hmm.
And Alabama, I mean, they probably did some homework as well, but they didn't
I don't
go
know.
in depth because
It was
they
half
pretty much were
stepping.
like, okay, yeah, they're going to be a tough opponent, but I think we can take them.
Yeah.
LSU did some homework, and everybody has underestimated LSU the entire season.
Well,
Hmm.
yeah,
So it's
yeah.
safe to say Alabama
Any,
lost.
yeah, it was a
Pretty much.
definite battle.
Yep.
It was a definite. It was such a battle. There's no
And apparently,
Hmm.
homework is involved in football now.
Yes, you do. You have to study the other team, girl.
Yeah, you gotta. There's a lot of film that goes into it.
Yes,
Oh
ma'am.
yeah.
Watch
Absolutely.
so
That's what they
much
be
film.
doing back there in the
I don't
room.
even. I don't even watch TV like that. I couldn't play football.
I'm more of an NFL girl, but
They
No,
talk
I'm
about
definitely
NFL.
all college.
I
I
like
mean,
college ball better.
Not the NFL.
No, no.
say
I'm saying
what?
you said you're an NBA girl. Oh
No,
no, you said
Oh,
NFL.
NFL.
NFL, Dallas Cowboys. I am a
I
fan.
do love the Cowboys, and
Always.
but I don't watch them like I watch college sports. So,
I'm busy on Saturdays. I don't have time to sit around and watch college, and they only come on Saturdays. So yeah, too
well,
bad.
now see what you do
I
is you
take my
plan your
phone with
day
me.
because
Girl, I am
you
not
got to
going to
plan
have a
your day.
conversation with you about planning my day around some college football.
Now, 'cause look at here. And yes, I am that chick that gets up
You are
early.
that
I get
chick.
the groceries are already ordered. I don't have to go
Yes,
grocery
they are.
shopping. I pull into my
You
pickup
know them
place.
groceries ordered.
They put them in the trunk. I go back to the house, get the yard work done, get the housework done. Then
Oh
the
my
only
god.
thing I'm actually doing is like maybe laundry. You can do that and watch
You
football.
can do yeah, you can do that in front of the TV, and then you're good because I start with
You
game
know
day.
what?
The
You're
show
right.
Game Day, I watch
Yeah,
that, and then into the games.
you are right. You know what I'm doing on Saturdays? I be watching good movies.
See, see, you got time to watch football.
I do. I do sometimes. All right.
I
Enough
feel
about football, guys. Thank you, Sherry and Lori. You guys are wonderful with the updates. Cause we don't be knowing nothing going on.
no. My Saturday be completely different than what y'all just described. So now, no, 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 and in no way am I gonna use my phone for that. Like I would not be.
Come on, Jam. Do it one Saturday for us.
I don't like football
Oh,
enough to even do such a thing. I will not waste my phone battery to look at a game. That's it's so. But I love that everybody really loves it and gets into it. Sean will watch football
so
5,
will
6,
you
7.
watch a game with him?
No.
Oh,
Mm-mm, mm-mm,
wow.
mm-mm.
Just a straight
No,
no.
like no.
Look at Lori's
Yeah,
face.
I
yeah.
draw the
I
line
mean,
right
maybe
there.
5 minutes at the most. I can watch a football like documentary. I can watch something like that to tell me a story.
But
But
see,
to
Yeah.
she
sit there and
learning
watch the
something in the
actual thing,
process.
mm-mm.
Well,
My mind just
some
wanders too
people
much
just
for that
don't
kind of
like it.
stuff.
I get
Mhm.
it. You like what you
But
like.
I don't sit down and watch nothing, so that's nothing really. I can watch a Hallmark movie. That's probably my span. I can watch a Hallmark movie in pieces, but it's okay. Election day is tomorrow, so let's talk a little bit about voting. But before we do, let me give you a couple jokes. I don't want to forget to give y'all a
Girl,
joke.
that's the best
Really,
part
some
of the
good jokes.
show.
Well, we'll see. We'll see how you feel after you hear these jokes.
I know exactly.
I don't know. I might have done this one already. Let's see. Why don't scientists trust atoms?
Oh, I think you have done this one.
Yeah, you
Yes.
did
Okay,
do
I'm
that
gonna
Some
give you
one.
about
that one.
splitting.
No,
Oh.
no, it's because they make up everything.
Yeah, yeah. I remember. I remembered it wasn't
I don't
splitting.
remember that one.
I
I
couldn't
remember the
remember.
splitting one.
Did you hear about the claustrophobic Astronaut?
Yes,
Okay.
it's
No.
Well, he
is
just
you
needed a little space.
space exactly. Yeah, you
All
did
right.
that one.
All
I
right.
He
remember
needed a little space.
What
Okay.
what is it called when you keep doing the same thing over and over and over again, expecting different results?
that.
Insane
Insanity.
insanity.
No, voting.
Uh,
Okay, that's wrong.
I
That is
actually,
so wrong.
I like that one though. That girl said voting.
Voting. You want
Don't
to
we
you
be?
get don't we?
She
Anyway,
right.
what does
it's-
a horse look for when voting?
A horse doesn't vote,
A stable economy.
girl.
Okay, really?
But
Hey,
Yeah, exactly. Really
yeah,
bad.
stable economy. Okay. All right. Let's move on. All right. So yes, I had to throw those jokes in there for election day. I had to get a couple of voting jokes in there.
That's
Thank
right.
you. Thank you, Carolyn P.
Thanks,
Thomas.
mom.
I appreciate you loving the jokes.
I like the jokes too, mom.
They are good. All right. So I'm going to start with the easy question. Do you believe that your vote matters? Why or why not?
Okay, I guess I'll start it off. Everybody was quiet.
I don't know how to
Uh,
answer that.
your vote definitely does matter. And I mean, it's not just it's because you want to basically vote for that candidate and be a part of, you want to affect your community, and also sometimes you want to affect your country. So you're voting for candidates who are reflecting your views or fighting for your particular platform. So you got to have a vote out there. There have been a lot of times, it's mainly on like local election levels, where um, the difference in a race has been only by a couple of votes. And so if you would have, say, if five people would have gone out to the poll, then there would have been a different result in the election. Now, a lot of times that's not, of course, not going to happen on that national level, because it, especially not with the presidency, because we have electoral college. But with other things, it is definitely critical for you to go out and vote. And besides, I mean, people fought for our right to vote, and it wasn't just as Black people, but this show has all women on it. It was as women. Women couldn't vote and Black people couldn't vote. So I'm like, why wouldn't we use that privilege, to go ahead and vote and make a difference in what's going on around us? Because it may not always win, but it's going to increase the likelihood of the preferred candidate who's standing up for you and what you believe in, or what you are concerned about. It's going to increase their chances of winning. So
That's true.
yeah.
And it might encourage
And
them a little bit to know that at least they do have some support.
exactly. And
So
then we take it for granted over here in the US, like other countries, they turn out in droves to vote, but we take it for granted, even after people over here fought for our right to vote.
that's true. You got to beg these people over here. They gotta have a fish fry and gotta have
Mm.
this. Y'all come on out, souls to the polls.
Well,
What? What?
I think sometimes people they start to feel that way because they don't see representation and they don't feel like their voice is being heard, and they have voted and it didn't make a difference. The person they vote for and they know would do a better job than whoever's currently in there is never elected. And so people start to say, I mean, I guess it don't even matter if I vote. They're going to do what they want to do, you know?
Well, yeah,
My thing,
and that does happen, but what they've also got to do is not only make sure you're voting yourself, but also encourage those around you to go and vote, and then
Exactly.
make sure you're actually informed about the candidates and things like that. So, and it will actually definitely make a difference.
Okay.
I was about to say the same thing. It's not just you. You have to encourage other people around you to vote. Um, I'm not going to miss voting, mainly because of me being African American and a woman in this country. I'm sorry, but people laid in their lives for me to be able to do this. And even in intimidation and all kind of tactics that they use, polling tests and everything like that, to eliminate us from it. And you can't um, you can't back down because now, I mean, the Republican Party, I mean, well, some of the different parties are trying to suppress the votes, especially in areas where there are not people, they're people of color and people who can't are not economically fluent. But they are doing different tactics to suppress us, and you can't let that happen. You have to stand up. And my thing is that I don't want, when you sit back, you let history repeat itself. I'm not going to let history repeat itself. We're going to stand, you stand up and you do it every time. Because look, the people that came before me did not lay down their lives, did not do this in vain, and I'm not going to let it be in vain. So you stand up and vote. And I think that some of that talking about, well, it don't make any difference. You're just being lazy, straight out. Let's just call it what it is. You're being lazy,
Mm,
and
True.
you're making it an excuse to, when that didn't really happen. Okay, boo. It's because you didn't say anything, and then the people that you were around didn't say anything. So then things start piling up, and then you're like, oh my God, how did it get this bad? How about you stand up when you see something small happen, and you keep standing up, and you keep standing up until, and you know what? That little small drop of rain can eat away a rock if you keep hitting it.
yeah,
But
yeah,
that's just me.
Okay.
yeah. So I'm gonna go ahead and give you your warning now. There will be no preaching on this show tonight. S. Neely,
Yes, indeed. She's so
Bishop S.A. Neely. We are
I
not
have
gonna do
no
that
idea
tonight.
what y'all talking.
that girl said S.A. Neely.
You know that's how them big preachers they have to do them
That
initials.
always
S.A.
initials.
Neely. No preaching tonight. Okay. This is a political show tonight. Let's keep it political.
And that's what I was talking about, history and
All
what we
right.
need to do. Stand
Speaking of
up.
preaching, did anybody hear what you call it said about Herschel Walker?
Well, who was that? What's his name?
Oh, oh God, how could I forget his name?
I
What
know
they
him.
what they said about Herschel Walker.
I don't know what they said
We
either.
don't need a Walker.
He need a runner.
We need a runner. I said, I know that's right. You do not vote for him.
No,
Mm-mm.
run.
We don't need a Walker.
We
That's
don't need a
good.
Walker. We need
Nah.
a runner.
Good. So somebody said something about being informed. Laura, you muted. Someone said something about being informed, and so my question is, how many of you all like actually go and read about all of the different folks that you're voting for, like in your
Okay.
election, like the local people, the state people, or do
Uh,
you just kind of go and vote with whatever your party preference is?
I'm not gonna answer that question.
No, because
so
I
I
definitely
don't.
have, actually, even in this election, I did vote across party lines.
Okay.
Um,
I did
but
too.
I go ahead and read up on them because this is what you get. See, I don't have time to actually sit down and watch the debate when it comes on TV,
Oh,
but
but you got time
like
to
the
watch football?
debate, I might be watching college football. You're right.
No, you didn't. No,
But
you
the thing
didn't,
about
girl.
that is that
The debate upcoming
we
Saturday.
have access to information now. And so a lot of these debates are like recorded on the internet. So you can go
Correct.
out
True.
there. Like I watched a couple of the debates after they happened. I was like, yeah, let me see what they had to say on this subject. And you just go
Exactly.
out there, pull up the video, and you can watch the debate, see what the candidates are talking about. You can and then you can actually, like, especially with incumbents, you can see what their track record is in office. Be like, well, let's see what you actually have done. Because a lot of times when you're just living your day-to-day life, you haven't really noticed what they had, unless it's something like blatant,
Right.
what they have and have not done. But you can go back and check their track record before you go out and vote and see, like, well, what did you do while you were in office? And maybe I shouldn't vote you back in office.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but yeah, the internet has a lot of things. Like you can get all of the debate videos, you can get information on the individual, you can check their track record.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah. There's a really neat website called Ballot Ready that allows you to go and look at everybody on your ballot. You just put in your zip code, and they take you to that particular area, that state, county, and you can see everybody from governor all the way down, and you can see, all of the candidates in that field. So it just provides you with some information if you are just kind of last minute, want to look, you didn't have a chance to look at all the debates, and you want some information, check out Ballot Ready. They are not a sponsor. I'm not endorsing them, but just know that that's something out there that's available that people can use if you want to look up candidates. So
I,
something like that is useful.
I like what Lori said about voting across party lines. I always have done it because I don't care what my affiliation is. If I like their platform, if I like what they're saying, what they're all about, then I'm going to vote for them. And I think that sometimes when people just go with their party line, you can end
Hmm.
up with something that you don't want. And
Exactly.
because I'm so sorry, there's some stuff I'm not voting for that. Oh no, no. But you have to look at, the what they're doing, the character, all that good stuff. So, and
Yeah,
I like that jam to that website to see.
yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
So do y'all go ahead?
I was getting ready to say because you asked about the uh,
Influence.
the people.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily look up the people. I sit around, I see the commercials, and I kind of know, and I'm like, Mom, I will save the flyers and things like that. But what gets me about the ballots is always the amendments and things like that. I'm like, what? Can they make this in plain English? I mean, me and Alonzo was in that office Saturday cracking up. Cause what? Am I supposed to say yes or no to this? Why is this that is crazy.
Yeah,
Interesting that you
you're
say that.
right, and you can actually research the amendments as well, but you have to do it before you get into the polling place. And what I do like about Leon County is they send out this like election guide thing. So
Mhm.
you get
Yeah.
your nice little election guide. It's going to tell you who's on the ballot, just like the website you were talking about.
Hmm.
But it's going to tell you first of all what the early voting dates are, where all the early voting sites are. Then it's going to tell you who's on the ballot. Then it's going to give you all of the actual constitutional amendments. And so you
Mhm.
can read through them and research what it actually really means before you even go to vote.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
because you're right, it is not written in plain language, and we
I'm
really
like,
probably
what?
should vote about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly.
Like,
Absolutely.
we need to have plain language.
For those.
Please.
Yeah.
Because I'm saying yes and I should have voted no. And what? Oh God, I'm
Yeah,
confused.
that's one of the things that I like about Ballot Ready also is because it goes through each amendment and it says
Mm,
this is what you're saying yes to, this is
Yes,
okay.
what you're saying no to, and so it helps you break it down so you understand. Okay, if I say yes, that means I want a 3% increase on my taxes next year.
yeah,
Okay,
Right.
I'm gonna
On
vote no,
on
right? So it does give you that useful information, and so do those voter guides. Every state has a nice voter guide that you can access as well as a sample ballot. So you can go ahead
yeah.
and prepare before you go. And you can take your sample ballot with you. You're allowed to take notes. So if you reviewed your ballot and you want
Hmm.
to write yourself some notes, oh, let me remember that I want to vote yes for this one. You're allowed to take those things to the poll
So
if you want.
some lady was on the phone. Is that allowed? Like she was in there on the phone, like she was trying to figure out what she supposed. I was like, is she supposed to be on the phone?
I've never
There's
experienced that before.
yeah,
Yeah.
Oh
there's
yeah,
there's
I
no
didn't
So
think
I
rule.
don't
so.
know. That's a good
Oh, okay.
question.
It's not
Oh,
really a rule about telephones, because what are you going to do? Take a picture of the ballot? Well, we already got access to that.
we,
So I mean,
Yeah,
it's not
and
really harming you.
okay.
yeah. Now, Charlotte, you said something about flyers, and Mom has a comment in here about flyers.
Yeah,
That is
that's where I
actually
got
the
it from.
main thing I don't pay attention to
Well, it's not that I don't.
because
They don't usually have
the,
any valid information on them, though.
exactly, they don't have valid information. Sometimes it's exaggerated information, and then
Yeah.
sometimes it's attack
Yeah, and
ad,
I hate that. I hate all of that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So I paid no attention to those flyers. I go ahead and take my name off the flyer, put it right in the recycle bin.
Yeah, my thing is I don't understand why candidates feel like, we can't remember things and we don't, you know,
Right.
can't read. I'm like, especially here in the state of Florida,
Yeah.
like we don't remember your
We
track
what you
record this
did.
we
whole
remember
time
everything, Ron
through the
DeSantis.
through the pandemic, all that stuff. We don't remember, and you're gonna put a turn and a twist on it, and put a flyer out, and put a, you know,
Right, a
a
TV
good,
ad.
yeah.
No, all
Make
that.
it, you guys, yeah,
Put
like
on
Jamie
happy
said, you
face.
need to really look at what they stood for, what they did, what their record was, and vote accordingly, because they'll put a spin on things and make it seem, they'll put a good lipstick job on a pig and
Oh,
call it a day.
All
that's
right.
your
Listen,
second one tonight.
come on,
I li-
really. Listen, Carolyn, can
Yeah.
you tell us about your first voting experience? Do you remember the first time you ever been to the polls?
Yes. Yes, I do. I was in college, 2008.
Yeah.
Yep.
When Barack Obama
Barack.
was running.
Okay.
That was the first time I ever voted. And and I am laughing because I was like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna go and vote for the president. And it was like a million other people. And I was like, what?
Exactly.
I didn't know what they were talking about. Oh yes, if it's okay. I Christmas treated. I
Exactly.
don't know who else. Barack won, thank God. And oh man, it was some mad people in Tampa. But that was my first time voting. It was a very long line, and
Yeah.
my friends stood there in that line, and we voted. That was my first voting experience.
Wow.
That
You, Carolyn,
I
how
remember that
far
kind
apart are we?
I'm not sure. How old are you?
of. Oh no, don't answer
I'm
that.
43.
I will be 30. I'm 35.
Uh-huh.
Somebody do the math. How many years is that?
Really?
8 years.
Okay, so why is that the first time I ever voted too?
Oh,
That's
Yeah,
sad.
in my adult life, I was married and everything. I had never voted until it was time when Barack won. I was like, "Oh snap! I gotta go vote for this black man." It was just I don't know.
Oh
I
my
don't know.
God.
I'm ashamed to admit that, but ever since then, I have always voted.
oh, that is so sad.
All right.
Well,
That's
I could understand that. Nobody before him was interesting to me. Maybe because I was just too young, but this was like
Yeah, I feel like
I was actually thinking, but it was like
right.
it's the same.
mm,
The only
okay.
thing was that with that campaign, with that whole thing,
That
um,
election. Hmm.
that election, I just remember standing on. That was the time that I stood in a long
Yes,
line, and
yes,
I wasn't going to let the sun get me out. I wasn't finna let you look. We got to make a run up to McDonald's. Somebody,
we stood there
in
too.
this line, bump this. That was the one time I was really determined, and that was the only time I had been in a line. Every other time, it was just like in and out, in and
Yeah,
out.
Right, right. That's my first voting experience was like that. It was pretty in and out, and I left feeling like this is it. I thought I was gonna have like a big shebang and lots of, like people we fought for this right. Let's go ahead, but it was just so under. It wasn't as exciting as I thought
it
it would
was
be. Like I was,
underwhelmed.
I was
Anti.
hyped up. I was
It's
underwhelmed. I was hyped up,
anticlimactic.
and then I just kind of walked out and was like, "That's it."
Who was that?
You know
Who
me.
was
I
you?
need things to have a little bit of flair, huh?
What time was that? Was you voting for Ronald Reagan?
Ooh, that's good, Carolyn. That's
Dang.
good. That's a good one. That's a good one.
Lord.
I didn't even
No, it was
vote the one
not.
for Ronald Reagan. And she talking about jazz.
Listen,
Dog.
listen,
Oh,
he's tripping.
Oh,
No,
she
no,
went
that was
away.
that was probably the
Probably
George
Bill
W.
Clinton.
Bush one.
Oh, George Bush. Okay.
Yeah.
I remember
Anyway,
watching.
somebody else tell me about your first polling experience, if you can remember.
Well, like I said, like you said, it was underwhelming.
Hmm.
I think the voting experience wasn't really all that much, but I do remember registering to vote because I was in college. Everybody, they were having a big push on FAMU's set. And so right there in front of the student union, I got signed up to, register to vote and everything. And it was just a little confusing at first, because of course they weren't as strict on the voter on the ID and everything. And I did have my student ID, so they were able to accept that. But I started driving late, so I didn't have a driver's license when I went to college. It wasn't until I was in college that I got one. So, but yeah, I made it through the registration process, and that was probably the most difficult. That was the more eventful thing, getting registered.
Yeah.
Then after that, everything was just like, okay, just go in here, fill out the stuff, and you come right out.
And
Well,
that's funny. We had the same experience.
Okay. On the college campus. That registration process, it doesn't have to be so difficult. It doesn't have to be so difficult. But
mm-mm.
now, like, so we did I just did a campaign on campus with, and we were out on the lawn in various places getting students to register. But now you have to register, of course, in your home state, right? So we have a lot of out of state students. And so they
Mm.
can't register to vote in South Carolina. They got to go home and register. But now we have this wonderful thing called Turbo Vote on the internet that will allow you to register to vote online for your home county and home whatever, and they will send you your ballot to where you are. So we
Nice.
were able to get a lot of college students registered this time around through using Turbo Vote. But it just got us to thinking, or got me to thinking about the whole voter registration process. Why does it have to be so difficult? Like,
Hmm.
Right.
why?
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be.
Well, and that's actually one of the polling issues is the difficulty sometimes of the voter registration. And
Yeah.
so, and of course, that affects mainly minorities and those who are, um, how do I want to say it? Just less disadvantaged economically. So,
Mhm.
yeah, it's going to affect them more because they may not have a ride to get to an office where they
Hmm.
can do registration. But I'm glad to hear that they are doing the turbo vote thing. I don't know if that's like accessible to everyone, but then those who are usually poor, they don't have internet, or things like that. So
Right.
Correct.
it's hard to, and I think before I remember them like doing sometimes door to door things, and that was really
Mm-hmm.
good, and that
To go and get
benefited
Yeah.
people
people
registered.
exactly getting people registered. So, but yeah, that is one of the issues is the registration, the process that we go through for it.
Have even of you all ever experienced any issues when you went to vote?
Nope.
Any
No.
voting issues? Good.
Nope. In
Okay.
and out. And even
That's
when I
good. Other
registered
than
to
the
vote,
long
it
line.
was a simple process. It was just like, fill this out. It was just a little card, and that was it. And okay, you registered. I was like,
Mhm.
oh, okay.
They
That's
have they've tried to make it better, but yeah, it can
Yeah.
be a
Well,
little
I'm a little
crazy.
old, so that was years ago.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Simple.
Yeah.
Thank you.
This
I'm
one,
like, whatever.
I think the only issue I ever had was I guess 2020 or whenever that, yeah, was that 2020? Yeah. When I went to vote, they wanted me to stand on a certain space because people had to be straight. And I was like, I'm not standing right there. And so I stood somewhere else and they didn't like that. And so everybody was going in one door. And I was like, but I'm not touching that door. Everybody else has touched this door. And so I went in the other door. They were not happy with me that day. But I was like,
Just me.
I'm I'm not the issue. It's y'all. You telling us to stay here and 6 feet apart and be sanitized, but you make me touch the same thing people have touched in this
Exactly.
long line. So, anyways, we cleared that up. They got this. They got themselves together, and I was able to do what I wanted to do. I'm not touching that.
You insubordinate.
Right.
I
I
am.
Yeah,
just
I
find it
am.
very, very.
I
Maybe,
I
maybe a
didn't have
little.
any issues with that because I did the vote by mail, but I did not actually mail in my ballot because I know that, especially during COVID and that election, oh my gosh, it was all kind of
Yeah.
craziness going on. But fortunately, they had at the early voting sites they had
You can
an
drop it off.
actual
Yeah.
drop box
A
where
drop
somebody was
off.
standing at the drop box,
Hmm.
and you could take it there, basically kind of get checked in and then drop off your mail-in ballot there. And so that's what I actually normally do. So I go to the early voting site, but I'm actually just dropping off my mail-in.
What
Hmm.
must that job be like to be one of those people? You know, you got to stand and watch the drop the box.
Don't you
Or
have to be at
actually,
least about 85 years old to do that?
Right.
Girl,
is that a requirement? Is that a requirement that you have to be above
Right.
60?
Because
it
every time
seemed
I
like
go,
them.
they be like, all right now, put your hand.
And what
Somebody
if I
grandma.
decide I
You
want to
better
put
watch
food
out,
in there?
Sherry.
You
That
know?
might be you because a whole bunch of them are retired school teachers too.
Ah, I
Mm-mm.
mean, and what if you want to put four in there? You just could knock the little old person over and put within it. You know?
Jam, stop. Why would you do
So
that? Don't.
why shouldn't they have somebody a little more?
Yeah, they should have
Not a,
No.
security
not,
out
you
there.
know,
Well,
Security.
the way
I'm just
things are
saying
going in this day and age, you need security everywhere. Yeah,
you
they said
do.
they was beefing up the polling places as
They
well, though,
did.
because I guess people are acting crazy, which is a whole nother subject. I just don't understand. Why? Just calm down, everybody.
It's
Why
just
is it that
weird.
serious? It's always the Republicans. But anyways,
Way to slide that in there, Charlotte. Way to slide
I'm
that in.
saying. I'm saying.
I mean, they so
But yeah.
like, but okay.
Anyway, so
But
Okay.
it's
now,
hard looking at.
ex- fortunately, we've never experienced any issues at the polls. But a lot of people do. They will show up to the poll, and all of a sudden, they are no longer an actual registered voter because they have what's called voter roll purges.
Yep.
Hmm?
And they're supposed to be going through and checking to make sure that this person didn't have a felony or something like that, but they have in the past, especially during a particular election, all of a sudden people were purged off that were actually eligible. So
And
Wow.
still
imagine
alive.
walking up to the place to get ready to vote and you've been told, no, you can't vote.
Yeah.
See,
Oh,
all of that
I
kind of
need
stuff,
to be told why. You need
right?
to
That all of that is so
explain to me
frustrating.
It is.
why.
And then
I don't
that's why
understand
it
why.
discourages people.
Because you gonna
Exactly.
tell me why. You gonna explain that.
See, you gonna tell me
Oh yeah. You gonna
she's
tell me
still
why.
All
To
that.
that
And
purge.
all they
It's gonna be a serious purge.
Woo.
it
oh,
sure is. You better purge me back
not
on
the
this
real
list.
purge.
Thank you.
Oh my
Right.
gosh.
That's what it's gonna turn
What?
into.
Oh God. That was a crazy election. That was 2020. All that cheating and he still lost.
I,
Yeah.
Yeah.
do you understand? But it's all our fault. And
Man,
man, y'all crazy.
he done call people on the phone and everything.
And they
Got
still lost.
still lost. And it's still our fault. We still cheated. Oh, okay.
It is.
And
Hey,
then,
just
I
call me
also
for a
wanted
dang
to
good help.
mention another polling issue that comes up is like the requirements for an actual ID, voter ID.
Hmm.
Now, in some places, you just basically you have your voter ID card, and that ID card is signed, and then you
Right.
just match it up with, you know. But in other places, you actually have to have two forms of ID. You have to have a valid driver's license or something else that's valid. Well, suppose you're like I was in college, an 18-year-old. I did not have a driver's license,
But you can
or
always
anything
have
like that.
a Florida ID. You don't have to have a
That
driver's
is
license.
true. But suppose someone, was because a lot of times if they're, poor, they're not gonna usually have an ID or anything. They don't have an ID or driver's license, anything.
Mhm.
Really? Well,
But
how do they
Yeah.
get assistance or any of those type of things? Don't you have to have some type of ID,
You do have to have
a
some type
bill, something?
yeah, they will bring in because I think, yeah, you can take in a utility bill. They have those, but
Oh yeah, yeah, they'll
but
take
yeah,
that.
sometimes with these
You
laws,
take it and
and
pay it.
then also with voter ID, of course the I guess main thing on the forefront now is with transgender people,
Oh,
because a lot of times they're matching the
what?
picture, of course, may not match the person's gender
Oh,
at the time. So, and they're going, no, that's not you, but it is actually them. So, I'm like, what do you
okay.
do there?
Ooh, a lot
So
of little questions, folks.
it's a lot
Lots
of
of little
issues
questions.
and things that need to be
But
improved in our voter system.
True.
right, they do need to be improved. Now, South Carolina, Jim, your state actually has something that I liked. It was kind of unique. What your state does, a voter can actually
She don't like it.
receive a free photo ID from his or her county voter registration office. So
That's neat.
Hmm.
that's pretty cool. And it has it's got your own photo and everything on it. So
Yeah, it's really good. Really good. So they don't get you with the ID, they get you with the other things.
They're gonna
Like
get you one
mhm.
like
way.
the voter
Yeah,
purge. Like
yeah,
oh, you dead. How you up here voting, but you dead. You on my list as somebody deceased. Come on, you
yeah.
still standing there,
That's
not dead.
just mm.
Ridiculous. So who
Oh,
I
y'all
very
voting
much
for
alive.
tomorrow? Who y'all voting
Girl.
for tomorrow? Or are y'all the kind of people that be like, oh, this is my personal business. I'm not
Mm-mm.
gonna
I
let
like to
nobody else.
tell people.
My personal business.
Oh, her
I
personal
voted for
business.
Val Demons.
I did too.
She's so.
I voted for Charlie Crist.
I did too.
I sure did. And
I voted for
cause,
Crispy.
cause I need Marco Rubio to get his rump out of there.
Got to
No,
go.
but I'm just saying.
Okay. Well, that's good. All right, listen, we're gonna wrap this up. Talking about too
Wrap
much
it.
politics and voting stuff
Wrap
will
it.
make your mind
What
scramble.
is
We need a
happening?
mindfulness moment by Carolyn in a minute. I will just close on this election thing by saying, if you're not voting tomorrow, please think about it. There are all 435 seats in the House of Representatives are up for election. A third of the
Yeah.
Senate is up. And they're going to really, these people will be making change in policies about things that are important to you, like abortion rights, inflation, the war in Ukraine, whatever, racial discrimination, climate change. I'm just naming things, but they will all have some type of impact in all of those different areas. So you want to make sure that you go out and let your voice be heard. Whoever controls the House and the Senate, that's important. If they all align with the president, then they generally have a better time of getting bills passed.
Right.
You froze.
You froze, but go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You're so stupid.
I'm sorry. Yes, but
She
if they
was.
don't, then it just creates more conflict. So just get out there and vote. Is all I'm saying.
The girl, she a nut. She was like,
It was. Yeah.
I saw her move up like that. I'm like, what's happening?
yeah,
So
you
I
have
saw
frozen.
something. I saw y'all spinning. Absolutely. All right, Carolyn.
I saw today. This has nothing to do with anything, but just because you said transgender, I saw something on Instagram about this man today. He identifies as transracial.
What what
Sorry, I
is
saw that
happening?
too.
Did you see it?
What
I've
is
seen that.
that?
He and he speaks with a British accent, but he says that he identifies as Korean.
What?
So there's that.
No,
So,
boy, people listen.
but it got me to thinking. I mean, if you could be
Because
trans,
they identify,
right?
they identify
It's like the
as
Rachel
more of this person.
Goldberg,
Exactly. The
whatever.
racial
She
lady.
identifies as black. So
When
I
does I'm
identify.
sorry. When does facts ever come into play? Like
I
factual
identify
stuff.
as a bird. So can I be a bird?
Yes, you're a bird.
you're right.
Yes, you can, sweetie.
yeah, tweet.
I'm proud of y'all.
You are now a
Okay.
bird.
Guys, I just thought that was the most interesting thing I ever heard. Um,
Woo!
so
All right.
anyway, we will practice the mindfulness moment, but I am just going to tell you about some different mindfulness activities. I'm going to ask you, what do you think a mindfulness moment or activity is? What do you think you do?
Sit and be mindful.
What does that mean?
Think.
Well, it's actually
Focus.
like deliberately, yeah, you're right, deliberately focusing. And well,
There you
with
go.
my mindful moments, I have on like a uh like music and a person that is like kind of guiding me through the mindful moment,
Mm-hmm.
about the breathing and focusing and letting out all of the negative and things like that. So That's my mindful moment.
That does help. That does help. Um, but yes, that that is one. I wanted to bring to your attention all sorts of mindfulness moments that you can do. So it's not just sitting and meditating. There are different mindfulness moments you can do. I don't know if there's a music to go with what we're talking about. Try the acoustic one, jam music, to see if that goes with what we're talking about. Anyway, so these are different mindfulness activities that you can do while you're on your own. That's great.
I'm asleep already.
So, mindfulness is about being present in the moment that you are in. A lot of the times, I would say 95% of the times, our brains are either thinking about the past or what we have coming up in the future. Very rarely are we sitting somewhere thinking about and enjoying the moment that we're in. Even if we're sitting around and we're talking and we're out eating, we looking at our phones, or we're somewhere else a lot of the time. So mindfulness is about just paying attention to the moment that you are in and how it feels. It's that simple. So, aside from sitting and quietly meditating, there are mindfulness techniques such as creating a gratitude list. So, you can actually sit down and focus on what you're thankful for right now in the moment, and you can create a list and try for 5 minutes every day to add to that list. And it involves you being really in tune with what's going on right now in your body, in your heart, in your mind. That great gratitude list. It's also very beneficial for things like depression and anxiety. Creating a gratitude list, it is going to help you out of those states or help move you through those states. There's walking meditation, which is exactly what it sounds like. You're meditating while you're walking. Again, these are mindfulness techniques. So you are feeling how you feel in the moment. It's not walking and thinking about what you're going to do in the future or what is about to happen for me. You're just grounded right where you are and you're feeling everything that you're going through. You can do this while you're driving as well. Don't close your eyes. Please don't. You can do this while you are single tasking, not multitasking. So pick one single task and concentrate on that task and do the very best that you can at that task. That's probably the hardest thing for me because I multitask constantly all day long. I have like 18 tabs open on every computer that I'm on, and I'm so to single task is a form of mindfulness. This last one is one that I had to learn how to do when I had my surgery. Why do I hear my when I had my surgery? I had to learn how to mindfully eat. It is imperative as a bariatric patient that I mindfully eat. I can no longer sit in front of the TV and eat because if I do that, I will hurt myself. I'm not paying attention to what I'm eating. So mindful eating, actually tasting the food in your mouth, not just throwing it in while you're eating TV. You're tasting the flavors. What seasonings does it have? Is it hot? Is it cold? What does it feel like in your mouth? Um, all of those things while you're eating. How many bites? And paying attention to your body. Is my body telling me it's satisfied? Mindfulness eating that can also help you lose weight by yourself without having to do any surgeries like I did. So those are mindfulness activities. They also have mindful gardening, but I don't garden. But maybe that's for you, Lori, who like to be outside. You can do your mindfulness activities while you're outside, building a house or whatever it is. Right?
Okay.
Sherry can do it while she out in her doing greens. Oh, that means we're done. The Oscar music.
Musical. Okay, so anyway,
Let's wrap it up.
it is, and I actually am not going to do a mindfulness moment with you because it is time for us to wrap it up. But I've given you a lot of tools so that you can go do it. Just remember when you are doing your mindfulness activity, you are not thinking about the future or the past. You are only concentrated on what is happening in your life right now. So bring yourself back to what is happening. Notice your thoughts and then just let them go and say, I'm going to bring myself back to what's happening right now in my body. How do
Yeah.
I feel? What's my breath like? All right? I'm so,
She's so annoying.
so tired of her. So tired.
My mindfulness moment is Christmas by Starlight. It's on Hallmark right now.
That is not a mindfulness moment.
It is not.
It's not, but
It's
I got it.
not watching them Christmas movies.
Girl, I can't help it.
Nope, it's Christmas time. Publix has put up the Christmas decorations.
Everybody has put up Christmas decorations, and Alonzo is threatening to snatch them down.
Look,
Exactly. I'm with Alonzo. That
absolutely.
is my brother-in-law. Yes.
Y'all to understand that giving is just a small celebration within the Christmas season. Okay? That's what
Mm-mm.
Thanksgiving is, just a little day and then it's Christmas. Okay?
That girl, really?
Really?
Yes.
No, ma'am.
It's you started celebrating the day after Thanksgiving.
I celebrated September 22nd.
And with that, we are going to say good night. Thank you all so much for joining
We
us.
are
It
going
has
to good
been
night.
great.
Yeah, great.
We're going to good
See
night.
y'all next week.